All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. I hope everybody had a lovely week. And with that being said, let's dive in to the TA. All right, guys, we're going to kick it off here with the indices. We'll go over SPY, QQ, IWM, and VIX, and then we'll jump into the Magnificent 7 stocks. And then I have a few trade ideas going into next week for you. I got some hot ones on that list, so stay tuned for the end of the video. All right, let's get after it. First of all, weekly time frame, guys. On SPY and QQ, we did close out with these indecision inside weeks. All right, we got these doji indecision candlesticks on the week. Doesn't really give us much direction. All right, but what I will point out here is we are still just consolidating here in this range, and I'm gonna show you guys in this video. Vast majority of the major components here are suggesting we're going to be going higher, and on top of that, we do have SPY and QQ also suggesting we're probably going to be going higher. All right, either we're going to get a pullback over here, and I'm going to talk how that can shape up. All right, or we are going to be pushing up to new highs this week. Now, I will just say at the very start of the video, so many freaking data puts were loaded. SPY and IWM, so many, tens of millions every day this week. They just kept coming in. We're talking August puts. All right, these are all sweeps above the ask. All right, above, you know, we're talking millions and millions and millions and millions every single day. All right, you know, normally you got a good amount of puts and calls coming in. I'm telling you for a fact, from what we've been seeing recently, no. There have been so many more puts coming in this week than calls. So I am just going to tell you, I think something's going to be happening around the corner. I think these guys jumped the gun. I think they're a little early. Maybe we get some surprise news over the weekend, but probably not. I think things are suggesting we're probably going to be going up in the short term. So higher highs next week. But I'm telling you guys, be cautious, stay on your toes. Don't put yourself in a bad spot. Don't be over leveraged. Because there's probably going to be something happening right around the corner over the coming weeks with how many August, September, October, December puts being freaking loaded. I can't explain it. You know, you just got to see it for yourself, and it's freaking, it's insane looking every day. All right. So, you know, I'm just going to say, no matter what we're talking about here with the charts, just be cautious as a trader. Do not be over leveraged, because we can definitely see that correction come, and I'm guessing there's going to be a news catalyst that at some point pops up. Either they're trying to short something that doesn't look like they should be shorting it, all right, like with crazy size, every day they're loading up, or they know there's a surprise catalyst that the rest of the market does not know about, and they're just going to keep loading up until that happens. All right, it's one of those two scenarios. All right. Let's get into the price action, guys. On the upside, we have 554.34, 557.20, and then 560. You guys see the two paths here? These are our two paths for you know, short-term price action next 1 to 2 weeks. Honestly, just next week. You know, either you are going to start breaking under 55110, and that would start, it would tell you pretty early on there that you're going to be breaking under 549.58 and probably going a decent amount lower here. Maybe, may I say 545. All right, that 544.66 is going to be right where you have the daily 21, and then underneath there you have your previous all-time high. On the upside, like I said, above 554.34, we have nothing till 557.20, and then 560, and then I won't be surprised if we get 565. All right. Normally, guys, when we consolidate like this, it normally does not turn down like that. Tops normally are not going to have a boxed look to them. That's what we have right now. All right. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but we could see this is a little rounded outlook, not where we went up. We came down. We went up again for another, you know, sharp looking double top area right here. Okay. And then we pull back again. No, we have a boxed look to us. I would not say it's something like that. I would honestly compare it to, maybe it's over here on SPY. Yeah, so if we do end up pulling back, because I will point out, we have a bearish divergence here. We did slightly make a new high on SPY and QQ, and we made a lower low on the daily RSI. So we do have that slight bearish divergence going on here. And if we do get a pullback, I think it's going to be something exactly like this. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. All right, you see how you had the lower high over here on the daily RSI, you had the higher high with price over here. Well, you had that same kind of box look, and currently we're right here. All right, we are literally sitting right here on these two candlesticks, and maybe we start seeing this move next week. We'll see about it, but I'm just telling you, all this is going to create is weekly indecision candlesticks, or something, just a pullback into a previous all-time high, 613.23. I'll just make it a level for us so we know to be paying attention to it. All right, and it'll likely just retest that area, and then boom, we pop right back up. It's probably not going to be anything drastic, but again, there's definitely tens of millions of puts being loaded every single day on SPY, QQQ. There are other, or not SPY, QQ, SPY and IWM specifically. Yes, QQ has some puts going on, but I would just say those two tickers specifically. All right, so coming back over here to QQQ, we went over what you're looking for the downside. We went over what you're looking for the upside, but I'm just going to say, technically speaking, guys, this wants to pop up to a new high. Enough said. Moving on over here to SPY. On the downside, take out today's low. Friday's low, 621.53. We're talking 619.52, 617.87, 615.04, and may I say it, 613.23 previous all-time high. On the upside, we're talking 624.72, 626.28, and get above there, we're going straight to 630s, ladies and gents. Above 630, we're talking 632, 635. All right, coming over here to IWM, we did start turning off at 226.14. I hope you guys started taking them profits. If you rode this breakout over here, I wasn't in for over here. I'm getting out over here. All right, 223. What does the thing want to do? It wants to pull back and boom, grind higher up to 226. All right, from here on out, you have this bearish divergence going on here on the daily RSI. I think we can pull back into this area. Maybe we retest 218.41. Maybe we retest 215.93. Who knows? All right, who knows? But I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be anything to get all bearish about. It's something to where you're looking to buy this dip. All right, real talk, you're going to be coming into the weekly moving average over here, just reverting to the mean, and you're also going to be retesting 215.93 breakout level right here. You're probably going to get buyers in between 211.95 and 215.93 if tested. We're talking the short term. All right, if this weekly 21 EMA steps up here, all right, maybe we don't retest 211.95, but I'm just going to be straight up. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to see that sharp pullback here to catch people off guard, revert back to the mean, get this bearish divergence over with over here, and then boom, you have something like this that gets bought up pretty quick. All right, pretty quick. You also had that bearish divergence going on here on the RSI, higher high, lower high, boom, pullback, aggressive pullback. And how many points, you ask? 10 whole schmeckaroonies, okay? 10 whole schmeckaroonies brings us right here to 215.93. All right, so that's IWM. We're going to come over here to VIX, and I'm just going to point out, I think this thing can spike. It's definitely, it's definitely showing itself here. Okay, it popped up on the day. It was about 10% the high, 9% the high there. All right, but it's not going anywhere yet. It doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere yet. But I do want to point to over here, and we could be about to do some things. Okay, I don't think it's going to pop up right away. But I will say, 4-hour chart, it's starting to shape up. And as I pointed out, I think it was in the previous video, yesterday's video there, Thursday's video, depending on what day you're seeing this, Thursday's video, I did point out, next time we see this 4-hour cloud flip, it's probably not going to be a fake out like we had over here. It's probably going to lead to a larger spike like these guys over here, okay? So we'll be on the lookout for it. We'll see how things shape up. But, with how I'm seeing the components, the Mag 7 stocks over here with chips, with how Bitcoin's moving, yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think we are going to be pushing up to new highs next week. I think it makes much more sense for some of these setups to get some fall through to them, / see their breakouts. And then we could start maybe a sharp decline or maybe just a slow pullback. Who knows? Okay, but again, those puts were loaded for some reason. All right, we don't know why. All right. All right, coming over to Mag 7 stocks, guys. We'll kick it off with GOOG. I'd argue this is probably the best looking one. right behind Amazon. Well, not right behind, right in front of Amazon. I'd say GOOG is the best looking one. Queuing up for a breakout above 182.45. Above 182.45, guys, we're talking 188.71 could come pretty quick. All right, that's why we got that yellow brick road going right here. Follow the yellow brick road, you're going to have a good time. All right. Break and retest off of this whole freaking range you got going over here. And guess what this range was? A break and retest off of this range right here. We can go a little like that, and a little like this, and a little like that, and we fly into the sky here. Above 182.45, we're talking 188.71. That's GOOG. Coming over to Amazon. Does that look all that bearish to you? Not to me. You got increasing volume on the week. I'm not going to say I like these candlesticks all that much, but you technically do have a bullish engulfing candlestick on the week. And what do you see over here on the daily time frame, guys? We see a breakout here above this 5-point range. All right. What is it on? Increasing volume. Where's the measure move for the 5-point range? All the way up here, 228.84. 228.84 likely incoming next week. There you go. All right, so that is Amazon. Coming over here to NVDA. All right, I'm not going to call it the craziest, bullish, most bullish thing in the world. I'm not going to call it the most bearish thing in the world. I'm just going to say, you really want to be shorting the beast. Worst case scenario, this thing pulls back to previous all-time high, 152.89. It's probably going to get bought somewhere in this area between 145 and 152.89. Really not going to be all that big of a deal, but honestly, it's probably not even going to get that big of a pullback. If you do see it at 152.89, expect that to be bought. On the downside, we're talking 160.98, 158.71, and then under there, you really don't have anything. And then come down to 152.89. And the upside, you have current all-time high at 167.89. Guys, did I tell you or what? Did I tell you or what? 165. It makes no sense. We didn't hit it yet. What happens? It gets hit the next day. All right. It only made sense. All right. And most of the time, vast majority of the time, the market's going to do exactly what makes the most sense. I know it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's NVIDIA. Apple. Does it look all that bearish to you? Not to me. All right. You're about to have the weekly cloud start flipping back to bullish over there. We can see what happened the last time over there. We see what happened the last time over there. We see what happened the last time over there. You see what happened the last time over there. Oh, one more time. You see what happened the last time over there, last time over there. Oh, one more time. I got you right there. All right. All of those were positive occurrences where multiple weeks of uptrend started after that. I think that's about to be what we have here. It's not ready yet, but it's about to be going. Buyers have already made their decision. They want to break it up out of this range. Okay. Now you're consolidating here. You pulled back, reverted to the mean. You didn't quite get 206.24, but you did get this level right over here. 209. It was actually right here, I believe. 209.48. And that is the level that was getting defended right over here. Now, I am just going to say, guys, this thing is probably going to start just pushing up. If it does pull back into 208.42, all right, that's the new level we're going to be watching right here. All right, if it pulls back in 208.42, maybe 206.24, it's a buying opportunity for the move back above 215. Above 214.56, I want to see a daily close above there. We're talking 219.38 and 225.70. 200 daily moving average is right around 223. Microsoft looks like it's about to pop up to a new high, which, again, just kind of supports that, yeah, indices are probably going to be popping up to a new high as well. Guys, these are the major components of QQQ, the NASDAQ. All right, SPY likes to follow the NASDAQ. These things lead the NASDAQ. All right, or at least they go with it. When these guys are doing something, that's doing something. Most of the time when that's doing something, these guys are doing something. All these components are suggest we're probably going to be getting some upside. All right. Microsoft, it's kind of that same little look I was pointing out on QQ, where normally in SPY, where we're just, you get that, rectangle, the box look to you. All right. You don't typically pop up like this, start getting bought up like that, almost take out the high, and you don't take out the high. No, you're going to take out the high. Expect you to come above 506.78, and we're probably going to push 510 in the short term. Weekly time frame, did you expect anything less than a green week over here? Well, you shouldn't have. Okay. Because guess what? The thing's on a freaking tear. Tesla, all right? Honestly, very solid weekly candlestick over here. Above 314.74, we have 325.58, 335.50, and 357.54. All right. On the downside, we're going to come over here to the daily time frame. Again, not looking all that bad. Oh, another major component suggesting markets might get a little more upside. Yeah, that's exactly what we have. Above 314.74, you can clear as they see the reactions around that level. We're probably going to pop straight up to 325.58. On the downside, 304.05. Yeah, we'll keep that level. 304.05, 315, 294.86. Lose 294.86. You're probably taking out 288.77. And then you're probably taking out 281.85. And then boom, 273.21. And all hell breaks loose. That's Tesla. Meta, honestly, really shaping up over here on the daily time frame. And, you know, I did point out the other day, $8.8 million on the August 15, 735C. All right. That is no small fry over there. That's a big fry. All right. That's like 10 fries stuck together right there, my guys. Okay. Break and retest off 708.87. Found buyers around there today. If you can get above Friday's high, 725.16, we're probably headed straight up to 737.53. And if you get over there, 747.90 comes next. I like it. I honestly do like it. Okay. I don't know if you're going to continue building something out here because honestly, this thing's definitely shaping up. All right. But yeah, Google and Amazon, those are the clear winners for the upcoming week. So those are the Mag 7 stocks. Now I'm going to get into some stocks that you should be keeping on your radar. Some are hot. Some are getting ready to go. Let's get after it. INTC. All right. It's hot. It's also kind of getting ready to go. It hasn't really taken off yet, but it looks like it's probably going to keep gaining momentum over the coming weeks. So it's something I'm going to be paying attention to. And if it can get above 24.66, it's probably getting a quick pop up to 26.43. So keep it on the radar. All right. Not a hot setup right now that's going, but it's one that's heating up. SMR, the nuclear theme. We're going to talk SMR and Oklo right now. SMR. All right. You popped above this key level 36.85 today, and you got out of this wedge. Okay. Daily cloud is also starting to flip back to bullish. If you can pop above 38.39, you're probably going up to 41.05. Above there, you have 43.40, 45.31. I think the nuclear theme is about to be shaping up. Well, it's shaping up. I think it's about to be running again. Okay. Weekly time frame. We can see you're getting real tight over here. 4 weeks of straight consolidation. That wedge pattern, that is a bullish reversal pattern right there that we can clear as they see on the daily time frame. We come over to the 4 hour, we can also see something like that as well. Looks really clean. All right. But on the weekly, I'd say it looks just as clean, guys. You reverted to the mean. You pull back to your weekly moving averages over here. You didn't quite test the previous all-time high, but you almost got there, 32.30. You almost got there. All right, and now you're pushing back up. I want to see you get above 38.39. That seems like a spot that brings a lot of reactions going on here. You see all these reactions. Okay, get above 38.39, especially with the daily close. We're probably about to start shooting back up to the highs, or at least getting something like that. Okay, SMR. Next one is going to be Oklo, and it's a very similar setup over here with the wedge breakout. You just got it the other day. All right. But I'm telling you guys right now, break above 59.14, that's when it probably is going to start going. Not now. All right. Right now, it's basing out. You want to break above the base, which technically is 57.59. But to be safe, since that's the previous all-time high, I'm going to 59.14, and then I start getting involved on this name. But SMR and Oklo, I'm looking to get involved next week unless something changes. All right. But real talk, we got to break some key levels. 38.39 here in SMR. Oklo, we're talking 59.14. Set your alerts. Hood. All right. Does this remind you of something? It sure reminds me of something. We played it last time. Okay. You could have played it over here. You could have played it over here. It's doing it again. It's flagging out. It's consolidating. It's range bound. It's got a box going on. It's about to break up above the box, and it's going to push 110. All right. I don't think it happens right away. I think we get part of the week in consolidation, but I will point out the increasing volume today on today's indecision candlestick. You didn't really move all that much today. You moved up, you moved down, straight indecision. Okay. It's not telling you anything. It's telling me that we're probably going to stay consolidating this range for a little bit longer, which gives you some time. It means you might be taking an early entry today. All right, on the weekly chart, we can see how this is shaping up. It wants to break above this, you know, this little area here, 188. And on the daily time frame, this is where the picture becomes really clean. All right, right over here, same exact setup. This lasted a little bit longer than what we have going on over here. So who's to say this thing doesn't continue consolidating over here? Regardless, it's something that's probably going to be popping up to 110, 115, and it's something you could take advantage of if you're keeping it on your radar. So set your alerts, keep it on the radar. Pullbacks into 90, 70, around 90, okay, are going to be buying opportunities. If we happen to test 85 bucks previous all-time high over here, buy an opportunity for that move up to 110 I just spoke about. We're talking about the big kahuna, huh? Bitcoin. I don't think you're going to be pulling back yet. I think we're now in the ripper of a move, and I think we're going to be consolidating and just continue having these little legs up. I think 120K is coming, and I think MSTR and Coinbase are going to rip faces. They already started ripping faces, but I think they're going to rip more faces next week, and it's going to be a little crazy. All right. On the upside, 118,839. Break above there. We're talking 120K, but screw Bitcoin. We're talking about the things that are going to be moving off of Bitcoin. Congratulations.
That was easy.
If you made some freaking coin off of MSTR. We knew about the setup well in advance. We've been on this thing since freaking 380, and it finally started giving us our move, ladies and gents. We're here. Okay, we're here. We're now in the heat of the moment. We're now in this 2 to 3 week span. We're probably going to be making higher highs every single week. And these dips are going to be buying opportunities. I don't know if you start the dip off. I don't know if you start the next week off with a dip. But I will tell you, I'll be a buyer. And I'm telling you, it's probably something the market's going to be a buyer on. If you see 415, 420, it's probably something that gets bought up to 450 to 480. This week, 450 to 480 incoming, ladies and gents. You heard it first. Maybe you heard it other places, but screw them. You heard it from me. All right. Real talk. I've been talking about this one ever since it was setting up down here. We've kept it on the radar. We knew it was breaking out from the range right over here. It threw us for a ride over here. But now the move I speak of, the higher time frame break of structure above 430.35 has now commenced. It has happened. And that means 450, 480, 500 plus, very probably incoming. All right. I like the volume on this move over here. Look for higher prices next week above 444.94. We're talking 500 bucks. We're talking 480 in my mind, and then 500 bucks. Coin. What do we got over here, guys? A solid week, increasing volume, declining volume on that little, indecision consolidation week in the breakout range, all right, which was 349.75 to 368.90. You got above there, okay? You actually rejected the other day, climbed above it the next day, retested it the next day after that, and now we hit it with a break and retest as of today off of 382. Get above 395.50, we're talking 400, 410, 420, 430, baby, then 450. All right, some crazy moves can start to happen off of this guy. Why? Because Ethereum's moving crazy, and Bitcoin's moving crazy, and everyone wants the best of all worlds, which is Coinbase. And Coinbase has a really sick, nasty freaking chart. We're thinking this thing's going to be probably pushing above 430 next week. I'm here for it. You're here for it. We're all here for it. All right, next one, Roblox. Roblox, I know it's scary, guys. The thing wants to keep going up. Look at the weekly RSI. What, Henry? Are you freaking crazy? I know. I am crazy. I'm nuts. I'm nuts. All right? But I'll tell you right now, the same thing as Hood over here. It's the same thing this thing likes to do sometimes with these boxes. Okay? You're just flagging out before that next move up. All right? We know this is going to break above 108 here with all likelihood. Maybe it doesn't, and maybe it breaks down. Who knows? If it breaks under 100, the trade idea is off. Okay? If you want a level to know sooner than that, 102.73. But on the upside, you break above 108, guys. 5-point range. I'm thinking we're going to get the equivalent of that 5-point move. And that brings us all the way up here to 113. Roblox. ASTS. Falling wedge. Almost had a breakout today. You got sucked back into it at the end of the day. On the 4-hour time frame, we do see with volume, we got our breakout. 4-hour cloud about to start flipping back to bullish. It technically did on this candle right here. Hasn't been bearish in quite some time, but we turned bearish in this bullish consolidation pattern as we slowly pull back into the daily 21 EMA over a 2-week period. And now with heavy volume coming back into the scene, we're starting to break out. All right. You didn't technically get the daily close above that trend line. I don't care. The level I'm watching is 48.32. If it gets above 48.32, very likely going right back up to 54.05. And then I'm talking 58, 60 bucks incoming. CAVA. All right. Second to last one here. I'm not going to call it a specific trade on this one. I'm just going to point out if it gets a pullback, it's probably going to act as a buying opportunity. I don't know if it's really going to be pulling back, though. I think it might start going a little nuts. We got volume coming back into the scene. We're now about to be flipping this cloud back to bullish. You could see what happened this whole entire time. All right. And then, boom, we had correction mode. Well, correction mode looks like it's about to end mode. All right. And, you know, personally, I think this thing is, probably going to be making it up to 101.50 in the short term. Above 93.73, we're talking 101.50. Above 101.5. Guys, we're talking 109.23 comes quick. And that is CAVA. All right. But, you know, my favorite trade ideas, they were at the start of this little trade idea section we got going on over here. And those were SMR, Oklo, Hood, MSTR, Coinbase, Roblox, ASTS. Those are my favorite going into next week. All right. Last one I got for you guys is going to be QBTS. QBTS, I know it's got a red week going on. I have a feeling we're going to pop right back up. All right. If you do pop right back up and you take out last week's high at 1754, that's when we get one of these crazy things going. All right. Notice there's a trigger for all of them. You take out the last week's high. All right. I know it's looking so bearish. I know. I see. Okay. But then you got bought up and you went freaking berserker. Okay. 80%, 70%. This one, the whole move was 100%. Okay. We haven't seen some crazy moves like that in a while. I know you got these guys going on. This was 100%. Okay. But you didn't really have a setup or anything to go off of. Now, guys, this is definitely getting coiled up, getting ready for the move, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll call it 8. Round up to 8 there. 2-month range going on here, guys. Reversion to the mean. It's getting ready for that big move. It might start up next week. If you don't take out this low over here and then you take out this high, boom. We're probably starting that next week. Then comes 1977. Regardless, I think you're probably going to get a decent bounce back up to 16 to 17 bucks next week. If you do happen to take out 1754 on that move, all right, then boom, we're going. Okay. That's like this red week right here. Well, guess what? You push back up. You didn't take out the high. So you knew the big kahuna of a move was not coming. Okay. We need to take out 1754. And then you know that big kahuna move is coming. All right. That is what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys had a lovely week. And I hope you guys are having a blast to start off your weekend. All right. We're going to kill it next week. We got a hot market. I think it's important to not be over leveraged. I think it's important to keep in mind. I will show you guys in the next video, but we had tens of millions of puts coming in every single day on SPY and IWM, as well as other tickers. Okay, but you know, those are the ones that really stood out to me. IWM is obviously starting to fall off a cliff here. All right, whereas SPY, you know, it's right back up at highs. Okay, but I think they're a little bit early. I think the market's going to be going a little bit higher. I think Google, Amazon, Meta, and Apple are the Mag 7 stocks to really be focusing on right now. Microsoft, clear as day, wants to break above 506.78, and then it's probably going to 510. So that's another little short-term trade idea for you. All right. But as far as the Mag 7 stocks go, my favorite, all right, is going to be GOOG, considering what you got cooking right here, guys. This is just like all these other times it consolidated. All right. Big consolidation going on here, guys. This is taking quite some time now. All right. But Google, Amazon, and then Apple, and then Meta. That's my tier list over here for the Mag 7 stocks. With that being said, guys, all I ask is that you leave a like on this video. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. I really would appreciate it. The only thing that really does end up growing this channel. It helps us reach the YouTube algorithm, and it gets new eyeballs over here on the channel, and then we can provide value to them, and then everybody can have a great time. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you guys, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.